Hello everybody, it's Christina from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today I got a good one for you, right? We're going to be solving the system of equations. I know you've been wanting to solve system of equations for the longest time. I know it. And today is your lucky day. Is it just me? It probably is. But let's get down to it. We need to solve this system of equations. And we got fractions for you. Everyone's favorite. But I would have to say that if it was fractions over decimals, fractions for the win. What do you think? Fractions, decimals, let me know in the comments. But we are going to solve this system. So we got 1/2 x plus 1/3 y equals 1/3. We got 3 over 2x plus 1 over 4y equals negative 1/8. Now, they call this a system because literally they just have two or more equations. So if you have two or more equations just, interacting with each other, or not really interacting, but just being stated with each other, it is known as a system. And in this case, we have to solve the system. Well, what does that really mean? Well, to solve, I notice that I have an x and a y value. And if we think about our coordinate system, right, a two-dimensional coordinate system, we don't have to worry about 3D, but a two-coordinate dimensional, I almost said dimensional analysis, chemistry is on the brain. By the way, if you have trouble in chemistry, we got that for you. We got tons of chemistry videos, we got physics, and obviously math. But anyway, in a two-dimensional coordinate system, we have the x-axis and the y-axis, x and y. So if we know that one of these lines, right, it's a linear line because x is raised to the first, y is raised to the first. Anytime that you have an x and a y equation and they're both raised to the first, it is a linear straight line. So let's pretend this line goes this way. I have no idea whether it does or not, but let's just pretend. And we have another line. Maybe it goes like this. The solution is x marks the spot. It's that one specific point in which the two lines intersect. And since it's on a coordinate system, you got an x value and you got a y value. That's the solution. We want to find out what that one specific point is. So we want to find out what that x value is and what that y value is. But we can't just find out what this is right away because we know by algebra we only can solve for x equals or y equals, not x plus y. So in essence, we have to get rid of one of these variables. Now there's many different methods to do this: substitution, addition, or elimination. Usually substitution is the easiest, but only do substitution if you see that your x variable or your y variable is already set up as x equals or y equals. And in this case, I don't have that. I have these terrible fractions in front of them. So substitution method, not really the best one for this type of question. But now we either do elimination or addition. Doesn't matter which method you do, the object of the game is you got to get rid of one of the variables. Make it easy for yourself. Which one looks easier to manipulate? Now, for the y's, I see that I have different denominators. So, right? Usually when you're adding or subtracting, you want to have the same denominators. But now if I look over here, the 1/2 and the 3 over 2, I have a 2 denominator and I have a 2 denominator. So maybe this might actually be easier for me to work with. I can try to cancel out the x values. But before I do that, I have to make sure that they are the same number, right? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to say that this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. I have to turn 1/2 into 3 over 2 or 3 over 2 into 1/2. Always work your way up. Now the 2's are the same, which means I don't have to do anything with the denominators. And I always like to work with multiplication. So I'm going to take this 1 and times it by something to get me a 3. What do you think, guys? What would I have to times this equation by? Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I'm just going to take it and times it by 3, because 3 times 1 is 3. But You got to be fair. Whatever you do to the first part, you got to do it for every part of the equation. And if you're just multiplying by a random number, you are only doing it for the numerator. So don't worry about the denominators. This is just going to be times by 3. This is going to be times by 3. And this is going to be times by 3. So let's go for it. Let's say we got equation 1. And let's find out what those new numbers are. So 1 times 3 is now 3 over 2. And that's x. Plus, now this is interesting because we have 1 times 3, right? 3 over 3, this cancels out, right? I got a 3 on the top, a 3 on the bottom. That kind of cancels out. So this is just equal to y. 1y, right? And the same thing for the other side of the equal sign, right? I have 1 times 3, that's 3. 3 divided by 3, that cancels out. These are just 1s, right? Okay. Now let's bring in equation number 2. So equation number 2 states, I didn't do anything with it, so 3 over 2x plus, I got a 4th y coming in, and this is equal to negative an 1/8. All right. Whoop. Let me just pull this over here. This goes over here. Beautiful. And I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to say that we had 1y here just to make it easier. Okay, now addition or elimination. Now in this case, we have both positive 3 over 2s. What would I have to do to eliminate this variable? Would I have to add them or do I subtract them? You are absolutely correct. We have to subtract them. And by definition, subtraction is the elimination method. If you were adding them, technically it's the addition method, but you know, some teachers, professors, they just call it all elimination. So just, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you either add or subtract to get rid of the variable. So I'm going to, in this case, subtract. So 3 over 2 minus 3 over 2x, that goes bye-bye. You do not have the x variable anymore. So that's beautiful because now we only work with the y's. Now in this case, I like to think of a pizza pie, right, with your fractions. You could use your calculator if you need to, right? But just think that you have one whole pizza and you eat, right, minus, you take away, minus a 4th. So you eat a 4th of the pizza pie. You have 3/4 left, right? Because 4 parts of the pizza, you had 1 part, there's 3 parts remaining. So 1 minus a 4th is 3 over 4. Always go back to food. It always helps. So you got 3 over 4, y. And now we have 1 minus a negative 8. So in this case, this is keep, change, right? So 1 plus an 1/8. This could be represented as 8 over 8, right? So 8 over 8, that equals 1. Plus 1/8 is a total of 9/8. Because when you add, remember, you keep these numbers. So the 8 is the same. And then 8 plus 1 is 9. So you got 9/8 over here. So this equals 9/8. Now, we just want to get y by itself. So it's being multiplied by 3 over 4. So you can multiply it by the reciprocal, right? The 4 goes on the top, the 3 goes on the bottom. And whatever you do on that side, you just got to do on the other side, right? So 4 on the top, 3 on the bottom. And this whole thing goes bye-bye. Now you just have y equals. And let's just simplify on the other side. So 3 on the bottom, that's a 1, right? This is a 3 now. And then the same thing for the 4s and the 8s. 4 goes bye-bye, the 8 goes on the bottom. That turns into a 2. So this actually turns into 3 over 2. And now we have one part of our coordinate. We know that the y is going to be a 3 over 2. So one part of the piece done. Now we still have to find out that x value. But, let me just clean this up a little bit. We're going to bring this over. Now, since we now know the y value, what we can do is we can use one of the equations that were stated in the beginning and just plug in y equals 3 over 2. Choose the easiest one that you want to work with, whether you want to do 1/3, and a half, 1/2 and a third, or 3 over 2 and 1/4. It doesn't really matter to me. Maybe we'll do equation 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rewrite equation 1. So it'd be 1/2 the x value plus, that was a 3 in the beginning, so 1 over 3. But now you're timesing it by the y value that you know. We just said that the y value was 3 over 2. And now that equals 1 over 3. Simplify. And in this case, now you don't have the y value anymore. You just have the x value. So we have 1 over 2 x. Let's simplify this, right? We have a 3 on the top, numerator and the denominator. That goes bye-bye. So this would be equal to plus a half. And this is equal to a third. Let's keep it moving, right? You want to get x by itself, so minus a half on both sides. And this will go bye-bye. So now you're down to just a half x. We're getting it. A half x equals, we might have to do some math here, do some fraction work. Let me just pull this over to the side a little bit. And we now have a third minus a half. So in this case, you can get your denominators to be the same, right? So we have a 3 and a 2. The easiest thing to do would be to times the 3 by 2. But whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top. And then this one, you times it by 3 because the number that they both have in common is 6. So this would be the same thing as saying 2 times 1 is 2 over 2 times 3 is 6 minus 1 times 3 is 3 over 2 times 3 is 6. We go back to adding and subtracting fractions. When we do that, keep in mind that, remember, the denominator stays the same. So this is going to equal a 6 on the bottom. And then just do your subtraction on the top. 2 minus 3 is a negative 1. Whoop. So this equals a negative 1. So this is a negative 1/6. And now, get rid of the x, right? The x is being multiplied by 1 over 2, so you can just multiply by the reciprocal, times it by 2 over 1. And whatever you do to one side, you got to do on the other side. So this whole thing goes bye-bye, because the 2's canceled, the 1's canceled. That would just be equal to x. And now, hold on. There we go. We can simplify this, right? 2 on the top, 6 on the bottom, that leaves a 3. And the 1's are, 1's. So this would be negative 1/3. And that is your x coordinate. So you have one complete y, one complete x value. And that is your one specific point in which these two lines intersect. So the solution is that coordinate. So if we just wrote it as a coordinate, it would be negative 1/3, comma, 3 over 2. And that is your lovely answer. Oh yeah. What'd you think? I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for viewing the video. Subscribe to the channel. Talk to your friends about this channel. If they need help in math, physics, chemistry, we got you guys. My brother and I, we really do help you guys, and we try to do it as much as we can in our free time. For the new year, we opened up memberships to the channel. If you want to be a member to the channel, that would help the channel out greatly. And thank you so much for your support. You guys rock. And you guys have been rocking it since we started this channel. We're so glad to hear that, this channel's been helping you out with studying and doing your homework and all that jazz. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Keep studying hard. Also, I would like to give a huge shout out to Maricela. Thank you so much for being a member to the channel. Your support means a lot to my brother and me, and we're thrilled to have you be a part of this amazing community. Memberships are open on the channel, and if you want to become a member, just click that join button, which can be found below on any video if you're watching on your desktop, or it can be found on the overall channel page too. For all of you that want your name shown in the video, don't forget to choose the gold tier or higher. Thank you so much for considering, and have a great day. Talk to you in the next lesson. Bye-bye!